If you're pouring your heart into your podcast, but still struggling to turn those listeners into paying clients, I've got something just for you. Imagine having a clear, simple plan to turn your listeners into buyers without relying on a huge audience or spending hours on social media. That's exactly what we'll create together in a podcast profit plan discovery call. During this free 20-minute call, I'll help you discover more opportunities for profit in your podcast and give you the next best step to turn your show into a client attracting machine. If I've got an offer that will help you expedite this process, then we can also discuss working together. Book your free podcast profit plan discovery call now by going to podcastingformoms.co/profit plan or by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to chat with you. So let's talk about cost. Not just money, because that's usually where the conversation gets stuck. I want to talk about the real cost of DIY podcasting, the kind that doesn't show up on a receipt, but absolutely shows up in your life. Let's jump in. Welcome to Podcasting for Moms, the show for moms in business ready to start, grow, and scale a podcast that turns their listeners into buyers. I'm Jenny Soneson, a podcast strategist and fellow mom entrepreneur. You're in the right place if you want to learn how to start and grow a podcast that attracts your ideal clients and really does the heavy lifting for you when it comes to selling your offers, all while balancing life as a busy mom. Are you ready to create a podcast that grows your income, impact, and influence? Let's make podcasting work for you, because as moms, we know how to get things done. All right, let's jump into the episode. Hey, and welcome back to Podcasting for Moms, the podcast for mom entrepreneurs looking to start, grow, and scale their podcasts and turn their listeners into buyers in part-time hours. I'm your host, Jenny, a mom of two, podcast and business mentor, and lover of all things fall. This episode is definitely one that is needed because I feel like people only think about money when it comes to DIYing their podcast, but there's so many other things that we need to consider. So yeah, I'm really excited about this episode and I can't wait to jump in. So let's get into it. So when most people think about doing their podcast themselves, they're thinking, I'll just invest my time. But what they don't realize is that time isn't neutral. Time is energy, time is attention, time is opportunity. And when you're a mom running a business, time is already spoken for. So the question isn't, can I do this myself? It's, what is this taking from me when I do? So here is the time cost. DIY podcasting takes more time than we expect. Not because you're slow, but because there are just so many steps. You're recording, you're editing, you're writing descriptions, you're uploading, promoting, troubleshooting. Even if each task themselves feels small, together they create a constant low-grade pressure. Podcasting becomes something that you're always catching up on, and that time has to come from somewhere. Often it comes from your margins, your rest, or your presence. Then we have the energy cost. So this one is harder to name. DIY podcasting doesn't just take time, it takes mental energy. It lives in your head. You're thinking about what you should record, what you haven't done yet, whether this episode was quote unquote good enough. That invisible mental load is exhausting. And over time, it turns something that you care about into something that you resent. Not because you hate podcasting, but because it's asking way too much of you alone. Then we have the momentum cost, and this is the big one. Momentum is fragile. When podcasting feels heavy, it's not the bad weeks that hurt the most. It's the almost weeks. The episodes you don't record because you're tired. The ideas that you don't follow because it feels like too much. The consistency that you lose because life happens. Each pause feels small, but over time, momentum quietly slips away. And rebuilding momentum always takes more energy than maintaining it. Then there's the hidden business cost, and that's something people don't talk about enough. When your podcast doesn't feel supported, it stops supporting your business. You might avoid talking about your offers, skip strategic episodes, or treat your podcast like a side project. Not because you don't care about it, but because it already feels like too much. That's not a podcast problem. That is a sustainability problem. So here is a gentle reframe. DIY isn't bad and it isn't wrong. It is often the right choice for a season, but every season has a cost. And the question isn't, should I be doing this myself? It's, is this still the season where doing it alone makes sense? So here's the question that I want you to sit with. If nothing changes, how will this feel 6 months from now? Will your podcast feel lighter or will it feel heavier? Will momentum be easier or harder? You don't have to answer that today. Just notice what comes up. Support isn't about luxury. It's about protecting the things that matter, your energy, your time, and your ability to keep going. In the next episode, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I work with clients one-on-one for podcast strategy and production support so that you can decide if that kind of support makes sense for you. This episode will be dropping on Wednesday, and it is our final episode in the series, so I will see you there. Thank you for tuning into Podcasting for Moms. I hope today's episode gave you the tools and inspiration you need to make your podcast work smarter, not harder. If you love what you heard, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. It means the world and helps other moms in business find the show. For more tips, resources, and support, head to podcastingformoms.co. Remember, you're not just building a podcast, you're building your legacy. Until next time, friends.